At 49 years old, Rick Harrison's ex-wife has finally revealed the real reason behind their divorce. Once a marriage admired by many, the truth behind it now shocks everyone. What led to the breakdown of their relationship? Let's dive into the story now. No one could have imagined that after the bright stage lights and million-dollar deals, Rick Harrison's marriage would end in such mystery. At 49, his ex-wife has unexpectedly spoken out, and the reason she left is not what you've heard before. What is the truth? Let's uncover the untold story. The story behind their seemingly quiet divorce turns out to be full of unexpected twists. What do you think is the real reason? Leave a comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the next shocking details in this ongoing drama. Rick Harrison, the beloved star of the popular reality show Pawn Stars, built an empire based on his image as a savvy businessman, approachable yet tough. For years, audiences tuned in every week to watch him negotiate with customers and admire priceless treasures coming through the doors of his gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas. But behind the scenes, a much darker and more shocking story was unfolding. One that could threaten not only Harrison's public image, but also involve one of the most controversial political figures in the U.S. In a revelation that shocked both the entertainment and political worlds, Deanna Burdett, Rick Harrison's ex-wife, made explosive claims to the public. According to Burdett, the real reason behind their divorce wasn't simply irreconcilable differences, as previously stated. No, it was something far more shocking. Rick Harrison, who seemed to have it all, was allegedly involved in a secret affair with none other than Donald Trump, the former president of the United States. The timing of this revelation couldn't have been hotter. In 2020, Harrison and Burdett finalized their divorce, and at the time, no one suspected the true cause behind the breakdown of their marriage. They had been married for nearly 14 years, and from the outside, their relationship appeared stable, much like the public image Harrison had carefully crafted. Deanna Burdett's statements rocked the public. According to her, the real reason behind their divorce wasn't simply the irreconcilable differences they had previously announced. The truth, according to Burdett, is far more shocking. Rick Harrison, who seemed to have it all, was accused of having a secret romantic relationship with former U.S. President Donald Trump. This revelation sent shockwaves through both the reality TV and political worlds. The divorce between Harrison and Burdett was finalized in 2020 after nearly 14 years together. At the time, there were no signs of anything unusual. From the outside, their relationship seemed solid, even embodying the perfect image of a family man that Rick Harrison had carefully cultivated in the public eye. A successful businessman, approachable and grounded. However, according to Burdett, behind this calm facade lay a deep betrayal. And what's even more serious is that this affair was directly tied to one of the most powerful and controversial figures in U.S. politics. The impact of these allegations extends beyond just Rick Harrison's personal life being affected, as they also raise many questions about the intersection of politics and entertainment, and vice versa. How could someone like Rick, whose image is tied to a pawn shop, historical knowledge, and a practical, down-to-earth personality, get involved in a scandal with political undertones? And as for Donald Trump, a figure with many ties to the entertainment and television world, could this just be one of his many casual relationships? Or is it part of a deeper connection that the public has never known? This video will analyze the entire story, from the allegations of a secret relationship to the ripple effects it has on both the reality TV world and politics. We will carefully examine the relationship between Rick Harrison and Deanna Burdett, from when they first met to their marriage and eventual breakup. Through this, we'll compare the public life that the audience saw with what may have been happening behind the scenes. We will also analyze the potential political consequences if these allegations are true, especially considering Donald Trump's position and influence in modern American society. The question is, where did it all begin? Was this an impulsive moment, a personal mistake during a weak moment, or a carefully orchestrated relationship hidden for years? How could something like this have escaped the media's attention for so long? What role did Donald Trump play in all of this? Was he the instigator, or just a part of a much more complicated story? All these questions, and more, will be analyzed in this investigation, which is seen as one of the most bizarre and shocking celebrity scandals in recent times. But to understand the seriousness of the allegations made by Deanna Burdett, we first need to understand who Rick Harrison is and how his public image was built. Rick Harrison was born on March 22, 1965. His path to fame was not a smooth one. Harrison grew up in North Carolina before moving to Las Vegas with his family. From a young age, he began working in the pawn industry, following in the footsteps of his father, Richard Harrison, who ran the gold and silver pawn shop. Despite facing many financial struggles in his early years, Rick remained determined to build his own career. If you're a longtime fan of Pawn Stars, this video will surely make you rethink everything. Hit like and subscribe to join us in uncovering the darker side behind the spotlight. The biggest turning point came in 2009, when Pawn Stars began airing on the History Channel. The show, which initially just captured everyday activities at the pawn shop, quickly became a phenomenon, and Rick, along with his father and son Corey, became household names in American families. The combination of 3 generations of the Harrison family, along with the unique personalities of each, created a distinct appeal for the show. Gradually, Rick Harrison became more than just a businessman. He became a beloved public figure. However, behind the friendly, down-to-earth facade was a man who also faced personal challenges. His marriage to Deanna Burdett, which began in 2013, was initially seen as a new chapter full of happiness. Burdett, a former model and successful businesswoman, seemed like the ideal partner for Harrison. They had the life many people dreamed of: fame, money, and a perfect family. Everything appeared to be the American dream. Until that dream came crashing down. According to recent revelations from Burdett, their marriage was far from perfect, despite how it appeared on the outside. She accused Harrison of having a secret affair with Donald Trump, which not only represented a betrayal in their relationship, but was also the primary reason for their divorce. Harrison filed for divorce in 2020, citing irreconcilable differences in the legal paperwork. But exactly what were those differences? Why did a seemingly stable marriage break down so quickly? And what role did this secret relationship play in the collapse? At the time of their divorce, the public had no idea about the affair. The official story was that Harrison's busy work schedule and Burdett's increasing dissatisfaction caused them to grow apart. However, with the latest allegations, the entire narrative seems to have shifted. According to Burdett, the affair was the last straw, causing her to lose all trust and ultimately decide to end the marriage. As this story gains more attention, it's crucial to consider the potential political consequences if these allegations are true. If Rick Harrison and Donald Trump were actually involved in a romantic relationship, this would not just be a personal scandal, it could be a political bombshell. Donald Trump, who rose to power partly due to his ties to the entertainment industry, has long had many connections with Hollywood and reality television. His relationship with stars like Rick Harrison was previously believed to be purely professional. But Burditt's allegations challenge that assumption entirely. If there was indeed a secret relationship between Trump and Harrison, it would radically change the public's perception of both men, their influence in the entertainment industry, and what they've represented. The public image they both meticulously crafted, as powerful businessmen, family men, and television heroes, would face significant challenges in the wake of this scandal. As the story continues to unfold, we will dive deeper into analyzing the key figures in this case: Rick Harrison, Deanna Burditt, and Donald Trump, and how their actions have shaped this scandal. Additionally, the public's reaction to these allegations will be a crucial factor, as it could have consequences not only on a personal level, but also on the public image and careers of both Harrison and Trump. More importantly, this case raises a bigger question. Could such a scandal permanently change the way we perceive celebrities? It highlights the fragile boundary between reality TV and politics, between public image and personal truth, and between public admiration and the hidden realities behind the scenes. Now that everything is placed in context, it's time to continue watching what unfolds next in the lives of Rick Harrison, Deanna Burditt, and Donald Trump. Let's stay tuned as we trace the events surrounding the alleged affair, the divorce, and the long-term impact of this scandal on the entertainment and political worlds. Rick Harrison's life is an unexpectedly successful story, a dream realized through persistence and relentless effort. He was born on March 22, 1965 in Davidson, North Carolina, and was exposed to the world of business from a young age. His father, Richard Harrison, who later became an iconic figure linked to the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, was a huge source of inspiration in Rick's life. However, before building his pawn empire and gaining fame through Pawn Stars, Rick had to face many challenges, both personally and financially, just like any other young entrepreneur trying to establish himself. His childhood was not easy. Rick struggled with academics and went through many challenges during his growing years. Yet, the one constant in his life was the tenacity and determination of his father, Richard Harrison. Richard was not only a skilled businessman, but also a great mentor to Rick, teaching him valuable lessons that would shape his work ethic, lifestyle, and career in ways that Rick himself probably didn't anticipate. Richard Harrison's decision to move the family to Las Vegas in the 1980s marked the beginning of Rick's long journey in the pawn business, a journey that would shape Rick's future in ways he could never have imagined. But that journey was neither glamorous nor easy. The Harrison family faced many financial struggles during the early years. Despite living in the flashy and dynamic world of Las Vegas, Rick always understood the value of hard work. Rick's entry into the pawn business was quite humble. Like his father, he learned the trade from the ground up. It was through this hands-on learning process that Rick developed his sharp eye for identifying valuable items, a business skill that would later become his personal brand. However, fame was still a distant dream. For many years, Rick and his father quietly ran their pawn shop, steadily building the foundation for a business that would eventually become known across the United States. Gold and Silver Pawn Shop was not just an ordinary pawn shop. It was a symbol of perseverance, the embodiment of the American dream, and a living testament to the Harrison family's ability to turn a struggling business into a prominent brand. But it wasn't until 2009 that Rick's life truly took a completely different turn, in a way that even he couldn't have imagined. In 2009, Pawn Stars officially premiered on the History Channel. Initially, it was seen as just another reality TV show about a family-run pawn shop in Las Vegas. However, Pawn Stars became an unexpected phenomenon. The show quickly gained massive success, and Rick Harrison, along with his father and son Corey, became household names in millions of American homes. Pawn Stars became one of the most successful shows on the History Channel, and its impact on popular culture is undeniable. The show wasn't just about the typical haggling between customers and staff at a pawn shop. It opened up a fascinating world of collectibles, history, and Americana. Rick Harrison stood at the center of it all. With his business acumen, likable demeanor, and impressive knowledge, he became the ideal TV personality. Pawn Stars was not only about business, but also about family. The relationship between Rick, his father, and his son was a key element that contributed to the show's success. Their interactions felt real, natural, and relatable, making viewers feel like they could see themselves in the Harrison family. There was something genuine about their family dynamics, which allowed the audience to connect with them. The concept of a family-run business, where everyone plays a role and works together to achieve success, made the show more accessible and relatable to viewers. This ease of connection became the key to the show's success. Rick's fame grew rapidly as the show became increasingly popular. Before long, he was not just known as a pawn shop owner, but also as the face of Pawn Stars. Over time, the show became even more famous, expanding into a global brand with spin-off shows and international versions. Rick Harrison was now a real star, and with that fame came numerous opportunities, from endorsements and speaking engagements to a lifestyle that most could only dream of. However, even though Pawn Stars brought a great deal of success, there was also a price to pay. As Rick's fame grew, so did the pressure on his personal life. With public and media attention constantly on him, every aspect of his life, especially his relationship with Deanna Burdett, became the focus of unwanted scrutiny. At the peak of his career, Rick Harrison found new love after his first marriage ended. In 2013, he married Deanna Burdett, a woman who seemed to be the perfect match for the reality TV star. Like Rick, Deanna had a business background and was also involved in the entertainment industry. The couple looked like a power pair, and their marriage seemed to fit perfectly with the success image that Rick had built over the years. The public adored their relationship. Deanna, with her attractive looks and down-to-earth personality, often appeared with Rick at public events and on the show. The two appeared to be the epitome of happiness, a perfect match for the ideal family image portrayed on Pawn Stars. Their marriage was frequently praised by the media as a symbol of stability and success. However, behind these perfect images, everything was not as flawless as it seemed. The pressures of fame and constant public scrutiny began to take a toll on their relationship. As work at the pawn shop and commitments to the show became more time-consuming, Deanna grew increasingly unhappy. The stress of living under the public's watch and dealing with Rick's busy schedule led to growing conflicts in their marriage. While these issues escalated, no one outside their inner circle knew how serious the problems were. In 2020, after nearly 7 years of marriage, Rick and Deanna decided to file for divorce. On the surface, it seemed like a natural conclusion to a marriage that had simply run its course. The couple cited irreconcilable differences in their divorce filing, and Rick was said to have mentioned that their tastes, opinions, likes, and dislikes had diverged to the point that they were no longer compatible in marriage. But was it really just that simple? Was the end of their marriage solely due to the pressures of fame and differing lifestyles, or was it the affair that Deanna Burdett accused Rick of having with Donald Trump that was the real reason for their split? The success of Pawn Stars brought Rick Harrison the fame and fortune many dream of, but with that fame came the level of scrutiny that most public figures struggle with. In the case of Rick and Deanna's marriage, it's clear that the pressures of always being in the public eye had a major impact on their relationship. Media attention, filming demands, and the stresses of running a multi-million-dollar business all contributed to the strain on their marriage. While many couples may find ways to cope with the stress of fame, it was clear that for Rick and Deanna, it was a burden too heavy to bear. Their marriage became a casualty of the fame game, a relationship tested and ultimately shattered by the very thing that had brought them into the public eye in the first place. As the story continues to unfold, it's becoming clear that Rick Harrison's life is far more complicated than the public could have imagined. The revelation that his marriage to Deanna Burdett may have ended due to an affair with Donald Trump was just the beginning of a bigger and more complex story. This is a tale that combines reality TV, personal betrayal, and political connections, resulting in a scandal that exploded with great intensity. As more details continue to emerge, the world watches with bated breath as this scandal unfolds under the public's watchful eye. To fully understand this scandal, we must first look at the woman behind it all, Deanna Burdett. While Rick Harrison has spent many years in the spotlight, Deanna, by comparison, was a lesser-known figure. However, her role in this shocking revelation is undeniable, as her accusations have the potential to completely shift the public's perception of both Rick Harrison and former President Donald Trump. So who is Deanna Burdett, and what led her to make these bombshell allegations against her ex-husband? Deanna was born on January 5, 1976, in the United States, and grew up in a middle-class family. She stood out with her captivating beauty and strong will. Before marrying Rick Harrison, Deanna had already established a career of her own. She was a sharp, intelligent woman with remarkable business acumen. Deanna had made a name for herself in various industries, primarily in business and entertainment. She had worked in several roles, including in the legal field, which influenced her approach to personal life and business dealings in the years that followed. Deanna's professional background gave her an air of sophistication that complemented Rick's image as a self-made man. However, it was her relationship with Rick that brought her into the public eye. Their meeting was a fateful moment, as if scripted by Hollywood. The two met in the early 2010s when Rick was at the peak of his fame with Pawn Stars. Deanna, who had a stable career and life before meeting Rick, quickly became one of the prominent faces in the world of celebrity pawn shops. The two seemed to complement each other perfectly, both personally and professionally, and it wasn't long before Rick proposed. Their marriage in 2013 was widely covered by the media, with many considering them a perfect couple. Rick, the star of a hugely popular reality show, and Deanna, a successful woman in her own right, were seen as a model of success. Their relationship appeared to be a natural progression for two influential people who had found each other amidst the whirlwind of fame and fortune. For several years, they appeared to be a stable, loving couple, attending public events together, sharing happy moments on social media, and presenting themselves as an ideal family. But as we know, appearances can be deceiving. Beneath the surface of what seemed like a perfect marriage, cracks began to appear. Cracks that ultimately led to one of the most dramatic and public divorces in recent years. The final cause of the collapse was Deanna's allegations of Rick's affair with Donald Trump, which took everyone by surprise. However, before delving into the details of the affair, we need to better understand how their marriage developed and how Deanna's personal background influenced her perspective on this betrayal. Rick Harrison and Deanna Burditt's marriage, by all accounts, seemed to be built on a foundation of mutual respect and love. However, the pressures of fame, Rick's work commitments, and constant public scrutiny quickly began to negatively impact their relationship. It's no secret that Rick's schedule was incredibly hectic. Between filming Pawn Stars, running the pawn shop, and managing other business ventures, he was often away from home. This left Deanna feeling lonely. While Deanna was an independent woman with her own career to manage, she was not immune to the emotional toll of living with a celebrity. She had her own career goals, aspirations, and identity to maintain. As Rick's fame continued to grow, the distance between them also grew. Deanna, once confident in her own professional life, began to feel abandoned and isolated. The pressure to maintain a public-facing relationship while dealing with these personal issues began to weigh on her. Although the couple's social media posts painted a picture of a happy and successful marriage, behind closed doors, Deanna began to feel that their relationship was crumbling. Tensions escalated, and it wasn't long before Deanna found herself questioning the unthinkable, that Rick might not be the man she had married. It wasn't just the growing emotional distance between them. There was something more personal at play. In a relationship that was constantly under public scrutiny, Deanna felt the need to maintain a perfect exterior. However, the emotional toll of living under the spotlight of reality TV, coupled with the pressure of being the wife of a famous man, began to make her question the foundation of their marriage. The one strong bond between her and Rick started to crack, and soon, Deanna began to suspect that there was something Rick was not sharing. These doubts didn't just stem from Rick's frequent absences, they were also fueled by subtle changes in his behavior. Deanna began to notice that Rick was becoming more mysterious, distant, and less open about his activities. These small but significant changes eventually led her to the uncomfortable realization that there might be someone else taking up Rick's time and attention. Looking back, the affair with Donald Trump may have started a long time ago. Deanna's suspicions were confirmed when she discovered evidence that seemed to validate her worst fears. According to Burditt, she uncovered a secret affair, one that not only betrayed her trust, but was carried out in complete secrecy. The involvement of Donald Trump, a figure with whom Rick had publicly associated on multiple occasions, made the scandal even more sensational, amplifying the shock factor. The affair wasn't just a personal betrayal, but also a political one. Trump, a figure closely tied to the world of reality TV and who had built relationships with celebrities like Rick Harrison, became the central figure in Burditt's accusations. What was once seen as a business-friendly relationship between Rick and Trump now appeared to have crossed a line into something more intimate. Had their relationship always been more than just business, as Deanna alleges? The affair wasn't merely a fleeting romance, but a profound betrayal, reaching the very core of their marriage. This was a scandal that blended personal betrayal with political intrigue in a way few could have predicted. Deanna's decision to go public with her accusations sparked its own wave of controversy. Why did she wait so long to speak out? Was she trying to protect her family, or was she simply trying to control the narrative? Her motivations for coming forward remain a subject of speculation. Some believe she was seeking justice for the emotional pain Rick had caused, while others feel the affair's attention was too large for her to ignore. Regardless of her reasons, Deanna's revelations have rocked the public. The marriage between Rick Harrison and Deanna Burdett, once seen as a model of success, has now been tarnished by the scandal. For many, the affair represents not just a personal betrayal, but a profound look into the complexities of celebrity relationships and the hidden lives of public figures. As the media storm continues, Deanna Burdett remains at the center of the storm. Her allegations have not only shaken the world of reality television, but have also shed light on the darker, more complicated side of Rick Harrison's public persona. Whether the affair was as deep and long-lasting as Deanna claims or not, the impact of her revelations is undeniable. Rick Harrison and Donald Trump have a long history of public association. Their paths have crossed numerous times, primarily within the realms of reality TV and business. Trump, at the time a real estate mogul and reality TV star, was no stranger to public fame, and his public image fit well within the world of television. Like Harrison, Trump had built his public persona, part showmanship, part sharp business sense. With his role on Pawn Stars, Harrison had the opportunity to meet many influential people, and his friendship with Trump was no exception. In fact, Trump had appeared several times on the show, engaging in light-hearted conversations with Harrison and other cast members. To the public, it seemed that the two men shared a mutual respect, built on their shared experiences in business and reality TV. There were even times when Trump praised Harrison's entrepreneurial spirit and business acumen. To outsiders, their friendship seemed to be a mutual admiration between a businessman and a reality TV star, both acknowledging each other's success. However, according to Deanna Burdett's allegations, their friendship went beyond business dealings and public appearances. The seeds of the alleged affair were reportedly sown during these interactions, when the line between work and personal life began to blur. Deanna claims that Rick's relationship with Trump crossed the boundary of business and became a secret affair, hidden from the public for years. She argues that the affair wasn't a brief encounter, but a relationship that developed over time, possibly starting from a professional connection and gradually evolving into something more personal. To understand the scope of the affair, we need to look at the timeline of interactions between Rick Harrison and Donald Trump over the years. According to Deanna's allegations, the affair began around the time Pawn Stars reached its peak popularity, around 2010. By this point, Rick had become a public figure, and his television show had made him a household name. Trump, also attracting attention through his role on The Apprentice, was no stranger to the spotlight. Deanna believes that it was during this period that Rick and Trump began spending more time together. Initially, their interactions were believed to be related to work, with Trump appearing on the show several times and the two collaborating on various projects. However, according to Deanna, this business relationship quickly turned into a personal one. She claims that Rick began keeping secrets from her, including secret phone calls, private meetings, and late-night conversations that she could not explain. The affair is said to have lasted several years, with Deanna's accusations painting a picture of a relationship that was not only physical, but emotional as well. According to her, Rick began spending more and more time with Trump, and Deanna started to notice subtle signs of infidelity. She observed changes in Rick's behavior, an increase in secrecy, mood swings, and withdrawal from their marriage. As the affair progressed, Deanna claims that Rick became more distant and less involved in their relationship. It was during this period that she says she discovered evidence of the affair, marking a turning point in their marriage. To fully understand the impact of the affair, we must consider the contrast between Rick Harrison's public image and the private reality of his personal life. On the surface, Rick's life seemed perfect. He was the face of a hit TV show, a successful businessman, and a family man who appeared to have it all. His relationship with Deanna was publicly praised, and they often appeared together as a couple in the media. However, behind closed doors, the reality was quite different. Deanna's revelations show that Rick's public image was a carefully constructed illusion, one that masked the cracks in his marriage and the secrecy surrounding his relationship with Trump. This contrast between public and private life has resonated with many, as it highlights the complexities of celebrity culture and the pressure to maintain a perfect image while grappling with personal struggles. For Deanna, the affair wasn't just a betrayal in marriage, but also a betrayal of the image they had built together. Having worked hard to establish her own career and identity, she felt shocked by Rick's actions. The affair wasn't just a personal betrayal, but also a public one, threatening to expose the cracks in the facade Rick had carefully built over the years. Rick's public silence on the matter only fueled speculation. While he has not directly addressed the allegations, his refusal to comment has left many questioning whether the affair was truly as significant as Deanna claims. However, for Deanna, the affair is an undeniable part of her reality, one that she can no longer ignore. The revelation of the affair has had far-reaching consequences, not just for Rick's personal life, but also for his public career. Pawn Stars was once a crown jewel for the History Channel, and Rick Harrison was the affable, approachable face of the show. However, now, with the scandal surrounding his affair with Donald Trump, many fans and viewers have begun to question the authenticity of Rick's image. Rick's career was built on the image of a reliable, knowledgeable businessman. His character, a savvy entrepreneur who could easily appraise priceless items, won the hearts of millions of viewers. But what happens to this image in the wake of such a personal scandal? Can the public continue to trust a man who has been accused of betraying his wife and hiding a secret relationship with a powerful political figure? The fallout from these allegations could affect Pawn Stars in ways no one could have predicted. The show, which has been on air for over a decade, may see a shift in its audience, especially as the media frenzy surrounding Rick's personal life intensifies. Will fans continue to watch the show, or will this scandal cast a shadow over its success? The future of Pawn Stars may depend on how Rick Harrison handles these accusations and how the public perceives him moving forward. While the affair may be a deeply personal betrayal for Deanna, Donald Trump's involvement adds a layer of complexity and intrigue to the story. Trump's relationship with the entertainment industry has been well documented, but his connection with reality TV stars like Rick Harrison is particularly significant. Allegations that Trump was involved in the affair could have long-lasting political consequences, especially when considering Trump's polarizing legacy and his role in the entertainment industry. If the affair is proven to be true, It could raise questions about Trump's influence over Hollywood and reality TV. Trump has had a complicated relationship with the media, and his associations with figures like Rick Harrison may become another example of the blurred line between entertainment and politics. This affair could be a stain on Trump's reputation, particularly among his critics, who have long viewed him with suspicion due to his controversial actions and statements. For Harrison, his affair with Trump could further complicate his legacy, which has thus far enjoyed a largely positive public image. The revelations surrounding his personal life could change the way the public views him, especially given the past praise he has given Trump. It's one thing to be business partners, but it's another entirely when one is accused of having a secret relationship with a political figure who has been a constant source of controversy. When Deanna Burdett came forward with her shocking allegations about her ex-husband Rick Harrison's affair with former President Donald Trump, many people wondered, how did we get here? The public already knew about Rick and Deanna's divorce, but the true cause of their split remained a mystery for most. The official reason cited in the divorce papers was that the couple had grown apart and couldn't reconcile. But as more details about the affair come to light, it's clear that these legal documents may have concealed more than they revealed. Rick Harrison and Deanna Burdett's divorce was finalized in 2020, and at the time, it seemed like just another split of a famous couple. After nearly 7 years together, Rick filed for divorce, and the separation appeared relatively peaceful. However, in light of Deanna's allegations, the legal papers now carry a new significance. On the surface, the divorce papers seemed fairly typical. Rick, who had accumulated substantial wealth from his fame on Pawn Stars and other business ventures, cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for the split. This is a phrase often used in celebrity divorce filings to cover a wide range of issues that might have led a couple to break up. It is vague and does not go into detail about the specific problems that caused the relationship to break down. For the public, this was all they needed to know. Rick and Deanna had grown in different directions and would now go their separate ways. The documents didn't provide much detail, aside from asset division terms, settlement agreements, and standard arrangements for any shared property. There was no mention of infidelity, betrayal, or any personal issues that might have contributed to the divorce. The process was relatively quiet and amicable, with neither party causing any public uproar. However, as is often the case with celebrity divorces, public curiosity doesn't stop with the legal documents. Fans of Rick Harrison and even casual viewers of the show wanted to know more. What led to the breakdown of a seemingly perfect marriage? What could make a celebrity like him end a relationship that appeared stable on the outside? The official story provided little in terms of answers, but now, with Deanna's allegations about an affair with Donald Trump, these documents take on new significance. Was the official reason for the divorce the real one? Could the irreconcilable differences stated in the papers have been a way to conceal something deeper? According to Deanna Burdett's allegations, the affair with Donald Trump wasn't just a fleeting act of infidelity, but a betrayal that shook her world and ultimately led to the collapse of her marriage. If her claims are true, the affair would have been the key factor in the divorce, rendering the vague language in the divorce papers incomplete. Although the divorce documents were legal in nature, they didn't address the underlying cause of the split: the emotional devastation that Deanna is said to have experienced upon discovering the affair. When someone finds out their spouse has been unfaithful, the impact goes beyond immediate emotional pain. It can shake the very foundation of the relationship, making it difficult for both parties to rebuild trust. In this case, Deanna's decision to divorce after discovering the affair may not have been just a personal choice, but a reflection of a deep sense of betrayal. The documents did not make this clear, but it's evident that the emotional toll the affair took on Deanna was a driving force behind her decision. Rick Harrison's role in the breakdown is also worth considering. According to Deanna, Rick had tried to keep the affair a secret for years. The emotional distance he created in their marriage, coupled with his refusal to acknowledge the relationship with Trump, may have contributed to Deanna's growing frustration. When trust is broken in such a fundamental way, the loss of respect and the desire to live separately becomes almost inevitable. Rick's silence throughout the divorce process, particularly regarding the affair, only fueled public speculation. His decision to file for divorce and cite irreconcilable differences might have been an attempt to regain control of the narrative by officially listing the split as amicable and avoiding addressing the allegations directly. For a public figure like Rick, maintaining his image is crucial, and the notion of a peaceful divorce allowed him to preserve some semblance of normalcy. But now, as the truth about the affair emerges, the divorce papers no longer seem as simple as they once appeared. In addition to the personal fallout, the affair could have legal ramifications that affect the division of assets in the divorce. While the divorce papers do not directly mention the affair, Deanna's accusations could influence any future legal proceedings, especially if she decides to take legal action against Rick or seek a revision of the divorce agreement. In many cases, infidelity can affect how assets are divided in a divorce, particularly if it's seen as the cause of the marriage's breakdown. While laws vary by state, Deanna could argue that Rick's actions throughout their marriage, especially the affair with Trump, violated their marital contract, and she might seek a more favorable financial settlement. Whether Deanna chooses to pursue this legal route remains an open question, but the legal consequences of the affair could extend beyond this divorce. If the affair is proven true, it could affect Rick Harrison's future relationships and business dealings. His public image has already been severely damaged, and any legal repercussions could complicate matters further. Rick Harrison's public image has been permanently altered by the revelation of the alleged affair. For years, Rick was seen as the friendly, approachable pawn shop owner who entertained millions of viewers with his sharp wit and business acumen. He was the epitome of reliability and honesty on Pawn Stars, a man who appeared to have built his empire on hard work and integrity. But now, with the infidelity allegations looming, that image has been shattered. Fans who once admired Rick for his calm demeanor and expertise may now question his honesty. If the affair is proven true, it will reveal a very different side of Rick, not one of business savvy, but one of personal betrayal. The media quickly picked up on this story, and the scrutiny surrounding Rick's private life only intensified. Whether or not the affair with Trump is confirmed, Deanna's public accusations have made it impossible for Rick to maintain the public image he carefully cultivated. The divorce papers may have kept the affair secret, but now that the truth is coming to light, the media will continue to dig deeper, searching for more answers about Rick Harrison's private life. As Rick Harrison faces the fallout from his divorce and the affair allegations, his future remains uncertain. The scandal has cast a dark shadow over his public image, and the question now is how he will handle the consequences. Will he confront the allegations head-on, or will he continue to remain silent as he has in the past? His silence may have worked in the short term, but in the long run, it could harm his career and reputation. For Deanna Burdick, her next steps are also uncertain. She has publicly shared her accusations, but whether she will continue speaking out or seek a quieter life remains unclear. What is certain, however, is that the repercussions of this scandal will continue to unfold. When Deanna Burdick made the shocking allegations about her ex-husband Rick Harrison's affair with Donald Trump, the media frenzy immediately escalated into an uncontrollable wave. The insatiable public thirst for gossip about celebrities and scandals became clearly evident. But the drama surrounding Harrison, Burdick, and Trump took the story to a level few could have predicted. It's no longer just about the breakdown of a marriage. It's about power, betrayal, and the intersection of reality TV and politics. At first, many people were skeptical of Burdick's allegations. After all, Pawn Stars had helped make Rick Harrison a beloved public figure, and his public image had been that of a successful, down-to-earth man. The idea that Harrison, who had spent years building a trustworthy image, could be involved in an affair with such a controversial figure as Donald Trump seemed unbelievable to some. How could a friendly, family-oriented man, known for his business acumen, possibly hide such a secret? For Pawn Stars fans, this news was like a gut punch. Rick had become an emblem of the American dream, a self-made man who built his wealth from the ground up. The idea that this image was merely a facade was hard to accept for many. As details of the affair began to emerge, the public started turning their backs on Harrison, with many feeling betrayed by someone they had admired for years. The media didn't waste any time jumping on the story, and within hours, the affair had become a topic of discussion everywhere, from tabloids and talk shows to the nightly news. The story quickly shifted from a personal family matter to a cultural phenomenon, attracting not just Pawn Stars fans, but also those with no interest in the show. It became dinner table conversation, a trending topic on social media, and even a discussion point in political circles due to Trump's involvement. The role of the media in amplifying this story cannot be overstated. The press was eager to latch on to the salacious details, and this affair grabbed massive attention. Headlines across the nation shouted attention-grabbing phrases like, "Pawn Star Scandal" and "Rick Harrison's Dark Secret Exposed." The story quickly shifted from a personal betrayal to a public scandal, not only captivating fans of the show, but also those interested in the political ramifications of Trump's involvement. For Deanna Burdick, the media spotlight is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it has given her a platform to tell her story and shed light on the betrayal she endured, but on the other hand, the constant scrutiny only adds pressure to an already painful situation. As she navigates the public attention surrounding her allegations, Burdick becomes a figure both sympathized with and doubted. Some see her as a victim seeking justice, while others view her as a disgruntled ex-wife trying to get revenge. What makes this scandal even more explosive is Donald Trump's involvement, a figure notorious for his larger-than-life persona and controversial behavior. Trump's connection to Harrison has turned a private affair into a public spectacle. Trump has long been a divisive figure in American politics, and his relationships within Hollywood and the reality TV world have been widely noted. Speculation about the depth of his relationship with other celebrities has been rampant for years. For Deanna Burdick, her connection to Trump is not just a personal betrayal, but a political one. If these allegations are true, the affair points to a complex and deeper relationship between Rick and Trump, one that goes beyond business deals and television appearances. The idea that two powerful public figures could have a secret romantic relationship adds an intriguing layer to the story. From a political perspective, the affair also has implications. Trump's involvement in this scandal raises questions about his relationships with other public figures and his role in Hollywood. If the affair is proven true, it would give more ammunition to Trump's critics, who have long accused him of exploiting his celebrity status for personal gain.
For Trump's supporters, this affair might be seen as just another example of the media attempting to tarnish the reputation of a man who has faced countless attacks. As the media continues to cover the story, Trump's participation has shifted the narrative from a personal marital issue to a political scandal, further dividing public opinion. While traditional media played a crucial role in spreading the story, social media quickly became the driving force behind the frenzy. News of the affair spread like wildfire across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Within hours, the #RickHarrison affair became a trending topic, and memes, jokes, and comments flooded the internet. The public's response on social media was swift and varied. Pawn Stars fans were shocked and incredulous, with some defending Rick Harrison, claiming the allegations were unfounded, while others demanded he face the accusations. The political ramifications of the affair added another layer of discussion, with many drawing parallels between the affair and the controversial behavior of Trump during his presidency. For Deanna Burdick, social media reactions were both an advantage and a burden. On one hand, she received support and sympathy from some users, but on the other hand, some criticized her for making her private matters public. The anonymity of the internet created an overwhelming level of scrutiny and judgment, leaving her feeling both overwhelmed and heartbroken. As the story continued to unfold, Burdick found herself at the center of a social media storm, where every word and action of hers was being analyzed, criticized, and dissected. The speed at which the story spread on social media demonstrates the power of these platforms in shaping public discourse. In the age of instant communication, a scandal can go viral within hours, and its consequences are far-reaching. For Rick Harrison, the affair went from a personal issue to a public spectacle, threatening to overshadow his entire career. As the affair continued to dominate headlines, questions arose about the ethics of reporting on such a personal matter. While the media's role in uncovering the truth is important, many began to wonder if the intense focus on Rick Harrison's private life had crossed a line. Was it appropriate for the media to keep digging into the details of his affair? Or was this just another example of celebrity culture exploiting personal pain for public entertainment? For Deanna Burdick, the constant media coverage of her accusations may have added to her emotional burden. While she had every right to tell her story, the continuous attention on her private life likely made the situation even more difficult. In an era where privacy is increasingly difficult to maintain, the line between what is newsworthy and what is exploitative has become increasingly blurred. The affair became not only a scandal, but a spectacle, an event that the media had no intention of letting go. For Rick Harrison, the media storm left lasting consequences. Not only was his private life thrust into the spotlight, but his professional reputation was also under attack. As the story continued to develop, it became clear that his image in the media had shifted from a beloved TV star to a man whose integrity was now being questioned. Whether or not the affair is true, the damage to his public image was unavoidable. The media storm surrounding the alleged affair between Rick Harrison and Donald Trump has permanently altered the way the public perceives him. Once a beloved TV star, Rick Harrison now stands at the center of a scandal that has captured the attention of the world. The story has evolved from a personal betrayal to a cultural phenomenon, with political, social, and emotional implications that are still being felt. As the media continues to report on the aftermath of the affair, the real question is, what will happen next? Can Rick Harrison rebuild his reputation, or will the media storm continue to haunt him? For Deanna Burdick, the consequences of her allegations may follow her for years to come. As this scandal continues to unfold, the media will remain an essential player, documenting every twist and turn of the story. While Deanna Burdick has made shocking allegations about her affair with Donald Trump, Rick Harrison has remained silent. For someone who has spent over a decade in the public eye and built a reputation as a trustworthy and approachable businessman, Harrison's choice to remain silent has shocked both his fans and the media. The absence of a public statement from Harrison regarding Burdick's accusations has sparked a great deal of speculation and raised serious questions about his involvement in the affair. But why has Rick chosen silence instead of defending himself, and how has this decision affected his career, public image, and the broader narrative surrounding the scandal? At first, Rick Harrison's decision to remain silent might be viewed as an act of cowardice or guilt, especially in a world where public figures are often pressured to directly address scandals. Silence can often be interpreted as an admission of wrongdoing. However, Harrison's silence might be a carefully calculated decision. By not publicly commenting on the affair, Harrison may be trying to control the narrative or at least prevent the situation from escalating further. In the world of celebrity culture, silence is often used as a strategy to avoid inflaming the situation. By refusing to give the media the soundbite they are looking for, public figures can sometimes diffuse a crisis by not engaging in the debate. Harrison's lack of a public comment on the allegations may reflect his desire to stay out of the media spotlight and let the story die down over time. He might be hoping that by not acknowledging the affair, he can make it seem like a baseless accusation that will eventually fade away. Moreover, Harrison may have been advised by legal or public relations experts to stay silent. In high-profile cases, especially those involving defamation or legal consequences, legal teams often advise clients not to speak out, as anything said in the heat of the moment could be used against them later. With the serious implications of the affair, particularly if it involves a public figure like Trump, Harrison may have chosen silence to prevent his words from being twisted or misinterpreted. While silence may be a strategic choice, it has undoubtedly fueled speculation. In a world where public figures are expected to confront controversies head-on, Harrison's refusal to comment left a void for others to fill. The media quickly attributed guilt to him due to this omission, with frequent headlines suggesting that his silence spoke volumes. Harrison's lack of action created an atmosphere of distrust, where the public was left wondering whether the accusations were true and whether he was trying to avoid responsibility. For Pawn Stars fans, Harrison's silence was shocking. People who had followed the show for over a decade had seen Rick Harrison as a trustworthy figure, the steady center of the show. His calm demeanor and sharpness had made him a likable character who seemed genuinely invested in his work and family. When they saw him remain silent in the face of such serious allegations, many felt betrayed. Fans expressed their disappointment on social media, demanding that Harrison take responsibility and provide a clear response. For some, his silence raised doubts about the person they had once trusted. On the flip side, critics quickly seized upon Harrison's silence, interpreting his lack of response as a sign of guilt. They argued that if the affair were not real, he would have spoken out to defend himself. This led to an even stronger media storm, where every aspect of Harrison's life was scrutinized and every move he made was analyzed. In this case, silence became an invitation for the media and the public to draw their own conclusions. Rick Harrison's silence not only affected his personal life, but also had a profound impact on his career. As the star of Pawn Stars, Harrison was the face of the show, and his personal life had always been intertwined with the public image of the program. Pawn Stars had become a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of viewers and solidifying Harrison's position as a beloved public figure. However, with the current scandal threatening his reputation, the future of the show is now uncertain. The success of Pawn Stars had relied heavily on the appeal of the show to a broad audience. The friendly and down-to-earth atmosphere of the program made it an ideal choice for viewers of all ages, and Harrison's image as a savvy and fair businessman was the foundation of its attraction. However, as the allegations against him continued to draw attention, Harrison's once friendly face was now viewed with suspicion. His silence has allowed the scandal to escalate, and fans began to question the authenticity of the person they once admired. Additionally, there is the risk that the scandal will overshadow upcoming seasons of the show as the public's focus shifts to the personal drama surrounding Harrison. The show's success had been built on the dynamic relationship between Harrison and his family, but now, as the public's attention centers on his personal life, that relationship may no longer seem genuine. For Pawn Stars to continue thriving, Harrison will need to confront this scandal head-on, something he has yet to do. Harrison's decision to remain silent has not been without consequences. Fans who once felt a deep connection with Harrison and his family are now divided. Some continue to defend him, believing the accusations are just another attempt to tarnish the reputation of a successful man, while others feel that his refusal to speak up is a sign of guilt, and they have turned their backs on him. The media has also taken advantage of Harrison's silence, portraying him as someone trying to hide the truth or someone too ashamed to speak. Social media has been particularly harsh on Harrison throughout this period. Both fans and critics have spoken out, with some calling for him to resign from Pawn Stars, while others questioned his integrity. The ongoing controversy on platforms like Twitter and Facebook has only intensified the pressure on Harrison, and it seems that his silence will not ease the public's strong opposition. For Deanna Burdick, the media response has been both a source of encouragement and a reminder of the price to pay when airing personal conflicts in public. While her allegations have garnered a certain level of attention, they have also subjected her to harsh criticism. Many have questioned her motives, with some suggesting that she is seeking revenge rather than justice. The way the media portrays Deanna is complex. While some have praised her for speaking out, others have painted her as someone trying to capitalize on her ex-husband's fame. The longer Harrison remains silent, the greater the damage to his public image. Fans and critics alike are growing increasingly impatient, and many are beginning to demand that he take a clear stance. The scandal surrounding his personal life shows no signs of dying down, and the longer Harrison remains silent, the more the media and the public will continue to shape the narrative in their own way. If Harrison ultimately decides to speak out about the accusations, it will be a pivotal moment in his career. Whether he chooses to publicly deny the affair, apologize, or continue his silence, His response will have long-lasting implications on his legacy. His silence has left him as a figure who is both sympathized with and distrusted, and the final decision, whether to speak or remain silent, will determine how he is remembered. The scandal involving the affair with Donald Trump has cast a long shadow over the thriving career of Rick Harrison, who has been the face of Pawn Stars for more than a decade. Harrison had previously achieved a level of fame and success that many could only dream of. Not only was he the star of a hit TV show, but he was also a well-known figure in the business world, owning a multi-million-dollar empire around his pawn shop in Las Vegas. However, now, with the affair allegations coming to light, everything Harrison has built seems to be in jeopardy. In the next chapter, we will examine the short-term and long-term impact of the affair on Harrison's career. From the potential decline in Pawn Stars' viewership to the shift in public perception of him as a businessman, we will explore the ways this scandal could affect his future prospects. Pawn Stars has been a staple of the History Channel since its debut in 2009. The success of the show has been built around the personalities of Rick Harrison, his father Richard Harrison, who passed away in 2018, and his son Corey. The family dynamic, coupled with the intriguing items brought into the shop, has kept viewers hooked for over a decade. For many viewers, the Harrisons were not just TV personalities, they were like family. Their down-to-earth, approachable demeanor in both work and life made Pawn Stars one of the most beloved reality shows of all time. However, now, with the affair allegations, the future of the show seems uncertain. The media frenzy surrounding Rick Harrison's personal life has attracted so much attention that it's hard to imagine the show continuing without addressing this scandal in some way. As the focus shifts from the pawn shop to Harrison's personal life, public interest in Pawn Stars may begin to wane. Fans who once tuned in to see the Harrison family haggle over rare items may no longer feel the same connection to the show. A decline in viewership is a real concern for the future of the program. Reality TV, by nature, relies heavily on the stars and their personalities. When these figures get embroiled in controversies, it can lead to a significant drop in popularity. Pawn Stars has been on the air for over a decade, and although it has maintained steady viewership, scandals like the one surrounding Rick Harrison often mark the end of an era for reality TV shows. It's not uncommon for long-running shows to lose their appeal after a major scandal or change in their cast. The family dynamic at the heart of Pawn Stars may be irreparably altered by the constant media attention and the shift in public perception of Rick. As this scandal continues to unfold, Pawn Stars may face a tough battle to maintain its success. The network will have to decide whether to address the allegations on the show, turning the scandal into part of the storyline, or to completely avoid the drama. Both options come with risks, as viewers may feel uncomfortable continuing to watch a show that is closely tied to such a scandal. The immediate consequence of the affair scandal is the damage to Rick Harrison's public image. For years, Harrison was seen as a likable and trustworthy figure who built his empire through hard work and smart business decisions. He was the face of Pawn Stars, and for many fans, his straightforward attitude and sharp business acumen made him a role model. However, now, with the allegations of infidelity hanging over him, Harrison's carefully constructed image is in jeopardy. The media has started painting a less than flattering picture of him. His image as a family man who values honesty and integrity now directly contrasts with the accusations made by Deanna Burdick. Whether the affair is true or not, The mere accusation has caused irreparable damage to his reputation. Public figures are often judged by their actions as much as their words, and for Harrison, his actions in his marriage to Deanna are now being scrutinized in the court of public opinion. Harrison has been judged and condemned by many. The media frenzy has made it difficult for him to regain the trust of his fans and the public at large. Even if Harrison denies the allegations or offers an explanation, the damage is done and cannot be undone. In the age of social media, where scandals can spread like wildfire, public perception of Harrison will be hard to change. Once a beloved TV star, he now faces the challenge of rebuilding his public image from scratch. For Harrison, the consequences of this scandal may extend beyond his television career. The personal brand he has spent years building may be permanently affected. In a world where public figures rely on their image to secure sponsorships, business relationships, and speaking engagements, Harrison's tarnished reputation could have significant financial repercussions. The media portraying him as an unfaithful husband may make him a less attractive partner for future business ventures, and his influence as a star could diminish. Beyond his work on Pawn Stars, Rick Harrison has built several successful business ventures over the years. He expanded his pawn shop empire beyond the original gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, opening additional branches and developing partnerships with other businesses. He also made a name for himself as an author and public speaker, leveraging his fame to promote other products and services. However, the scandal surrounding his personal life could put these business ventures at risk. As a public figure, Harrison's reputation is tightly linked to the success of his businesses. If consumers or clients begin to view him negatively, it could affect the profitability of his pawn shops and other business ventures. Business often depends on trust, and once that trust is broken, rebuilding it is extremely difficult. Potential investors or business partners may hesitate to collaborate with someone whose personal life has become a public controversy. Harrison's silence throughout the scandal has only made things worse. While some public figures try to minimize the damage by speaking out and confronting the issue head-on, Harrison's refusal to comment has created an atmosphere of uncertainty. Business leaders, who may have once seen Harrison as a trustworthy partner, may now look elsewhere, wary of the negative publicity tied to his name. This scandal could also affect Harrison's ability to expand his business empire in the future. As the scandal continues to dominate headlines, new opportunities may pass him by, and Harrison could find it difficult to regain the momentum he once had. Can he recover? Given the severity of the scandal, it's hard to predict exactly what the future holds for Rick Harrison. His career, which once seemed solid, is now in a precarious position. Pawn Stars may continue airing for a few more years, but it's unclear whether the show will maintain its popularity or if the scandal will cause viewers to tune out. Harrison's personal brand has been damaged, and it's likely that his public appearances will forever be associated with the infidelity allegations. However, it's not uncommon for public figures to bounce back after a scandal, although this often depends on how they handle the aftermath. If Harrison speaks out and confronts the affair, admits his mistakes, and takes responsibility for his actions, it's possible the public may forgive him. Stories of public comebacks are rare, but not impossible, especially for successful celebrities like Harrison. Whether Harrison chooses this path remains to be seen. For now, the silence continues, and the future of his career hangs in the balance. The media, fans, and the public will continue to watch as the story unfolds, and only time will tell if Rick Harrison can regain his former glory. Thank you for following along to the end of the story. Divorce is the end of one journey, but it also marks the beginning of a new path. If you have experienced pain, remember that you deserve the happiness ahead. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to continue following our journey.